Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Environmental Social Justice. I'm your host, 𝑤𝒒𝒐𝒍𝒆. Today we have Dr. Sharona Nazarian. She is a councilwoman with the City of Beverly Hills. Welcome, Sharona.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
So today we're going to talk about a pretty rough subject about women's rights. And yesterday, the City of Beverly Hills issued a statement, a press release, that said on October 11th, City Council unanimously adopted a resolution that calls upon the U.S. government to increase sanctions against the regime in Iran and cease current and future negotiations until there is a regime change. Now, you are a refugee from Iran as a child.
Correct.
Why is this important?
Right. So, first of all, thank you so much for having me on today. I wanted to start off with a little background, and sometimes people don't really understand what's happening right now. We're actually witnessing one of the largest women's rights movements in history right now. And it's completely led by women right now, and other people are starting to join in. So I wanted to read a letter to you that I received from a young girl in Iran. And she wrote, "The Iranian people need your help. Iranian girls are being arrested, beaten, robbed, and even killed by the moral security police for not wearing hijab." Now, a hijab is a headscarf covering that they're required to wear. Mahsa Amini was a 22-year-old Iranian girl who was taken to the Morality Securities Center after being arrested by the Irshad Patrol and suffered a concussion due to the police hitting her on the head. She went into a coma and subsequently died as a result of her injuries. We cannot walk easily in the streets due to fear of the police. When we want to leave the house, we have to hug our parents for the last time because we don't know if we will return alive or dead. In any country, when a crime occurs, people seek help from the police. But in our country, we are afraid of the police. Hijab law is not human law. Rather, it is a complete opposition to freedom and the human rights. Killing girls because of having bad hijab is even worse. When we go into the streets to protest, they shoot us with guns. We need your help to bring our voices to the people and to the world and stop the oppression.
That is moving. I'm good. So women are getting killed simply because they're showing their hair and not wearing their hijab correctly. So why is this happening? What is, for people who may not know about a moral police and what's going on, could you explain as simply as possible what's happening to these women and girls?
Right. So I think a lot of it is who is in power right now, and that's the Islamic Republic. And the Islamic Republic, their values, their policies that they set do not reflect the values of the Iranian people. The internet has been shut down. They can't communicate. They need the voice of those outside to be able to give support and hope and also courage when they see other people outside who are trying to support this movement. It gives them hope. Now, I'm an immigrant to the United States. I love this country with all my heart. I'm also a Jew, and I don't have any family in Iran. But to me, this is not a religious or cultural matter, but rather a human rights issue. As a mother, a daughter, as a doctor, this is appalling. It's blatant attacks of violence on women, on girls, and really, who's there to protect them? 50% of the population is women, yet they're being treated like second-class citizens. And they can't celebrate their femininity. They can't dance. They can't sing or even show their hair. If a woman asks for a divorce, she's not granted one unless the man agrees. And even then, she will completely lose custody of her child. And so women are rising up in Iran after 43 years. When I was a kid and I came to the United States, there was really nobody there to protect me or to be able to stand up and be a voice for me. A 6-year-old me was being called a terrorist by ignorant people who didn't understand what was happening. And so right now, this is really an opportunity for us to stand up and stand in line with the mothers and the daughters and the sisters who really need a voice to be able to stand up. And yeah.
No, I'm glad you brought up the fact that we need people to stand up, because this could have a domino effect if it goes ignored. The worst thing we can do is be silent and watch from the outside, saying, well, it's not affecting me directly, so I'm not going to get involved. That is the absolute worst thing we can do as a nation, as a country, as women. And the most important thing is, let's put politics aside. Let's put nationalities aside. This is a human rights issue. This is a women's rights issue. This is a social justice issue.
That's right.
And what can we do from all the way on the other side of the world to help affect change?
Well, thank you for asking that. I just want to give you a brief history about Iran and the Iranian people. Iran has a sophisticated history of culture, science, poetry, math, and music, and they're a loving nation that values their elderly, their education, and family. On the other hand, the Islamic Republic is one that is a barbaric government that wants to harbor hate, terror, manipulation, and violence. So any deal, nuclear or otherwise, with the people poses a threat actually to us all and to the region. And the Islamic Republic can't really be trusted. The more people speak out on social media, the more they reach out to their elected officials, the more of a significant impact it will have. That's why we decided to do the resolution. I'm really proud of our council. We were among the first elected officials to have a moment of silence. We lit up our city hall with the words "Justice for Mahsa Amini," and it's still up there. I think it was until last night, which was a significant period of time. And I'm really proud of our council that we've been able to stand shoulder to shoulder about just equality and human rights issues. We are a leader. We are a nation of leaders, and we need to stand up. So what can you do? Number one, you on social media, you can hashtag Mahsa Amini. You can hashtag, let me, there's one other hashtag, and it will come to me, but I believe it's "the world is my camera." And it's just about educating yourself. The second is to reach out to your various elected officials, whether it's at the local governing level, state, and also for our president. We were really surprised. A lot of people were surprised that the media was really not taking the time to cover this. And so a lot of people have been reaching out to other leaders and celebrities, asking them, hey, where are you? Where is your voice? You say that you support women and women's rights. This is the largest women's rights movements in years and in the history of, and where are these leaders? Where are our electeds? And so that's why as a city, we thought it was important to pass that resolution.
And I do appreciate that you shared the history of Iran and the Middle East in general, because yes, they are the founders of, a lot of culture, a lot of history, mathematics, philosophy. There is a deep, rich history there. And unfortunately, I think it was around the 1970s, all of a sudden, everything changed to extremists that decided to control people and hold people down and manipulate. So from my standpoint, that I see that could be the most harmful is the sanctions. Get them where there's money. Stop importing, stop exporting, stop trading, stop negotiating. Just cut them off. I don't know if that's me being a little too extreme on my end, but I think we need to have a severe reaction.
I think you're absolutely right. And that's what the resolution reflected. There are two areas that I think are important to realize. We were very mindful in the wording. I wanted to be sure that sanctions were not placed on medical supplies, because right now there's a lot of shrapnel that's going on and going around in the shootings and with the people that are in the streets and that are protesting. And so the doctors are asking for specific medical materials. So ointment, gauze, the basics. Please, let's not sanction those things. They need them right now to keep the innocent civilians alive. And the other was to allow, yes, we want to put sanctions on economic ties. However, if somebody is sending money to their family members, because right now there is a huge economic struggle in Iran. We wanted to be sure that they were able to get money to their loved ones in Iran.
I'm so glad that you added that language in, because honestly, most people may not have thought about that. And medical supplies are vastly important. People are getting hurt. You're going to need sterilization. You're going to need wraps. You're going to need wound gauze. That is important, and helping people financially with their families. So keeping it away from the extremists, but helping people who live there. And
we're going to be looking further into that. The other small tidbit that I wanted to share with you. Yesterday, I had the privilege of speaking at an all-girls school on International Girls' Day, and it was a very just humbling but empowering experience, because, you know, this whole movement is being run by the person who gives birth, the person who has this deep superpower, and all she is really able to do is use her spirit and her caring sense of self. And there's a movement that a lot of women are taking their hair and they're cutting it. And why is that? Because a woman's hair is her beauty, it's her strength. And in protest in ancient times, there's many stories that women would take their hair and cut it to symbolize that. I get a little emotional just because.
Absolutely. No, it's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And we, sorry. So
no, I get it.
So, you know, yesterday when we were in the school, we had a couple of the girls come up and they actually cut their hair, and there is a locks that people are sending their locks of hair to President Biden with a letter saying that they demand action from our elected officials and our leaders. And so, you know, that the other, you asked me what else can be done. That was another way that people could participate.
I love the messaging. I just hope that we can also be heard through what we have to say and express, rather than having to give physical articles to actually take notice of us. Yes. I mean, we should be heard equally across the board wherever we are. Before I let you go, because I know you're very, very busy, you have a lot going on in your world. Would you mind sharing the names of the 3 women that we're honoring through this?
Yeah. So first off is Mahsa Amini, and Sharona Nazarian, and Nika Shakarami. Now the former 2 are 16-year-olds, only 16 years old, and they were in the streets protesting and wanting to stand up for their basic human rights. They were taken, they were beaten, they were raped multiple days, and they were slaughtered. And then they were thrown off of a building, and then they said, oh, they committed suicide. So these are the human rights violations that are happening in Iran right now. They need our help. They need our voice. And the more people can reach out, hopefully there will be a change and a better tomorrow. And we could all stand united.
We all need to stand united, and we have the absolute support of these Iranian women who are braver than I could ever imagine myself being. These are incredible women, and what they're going through is completely unjust, and we need to change that. So, Sharona, thank you so much. You're a dear friend of mine. I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, guys. Dr. Sharona Nazarian, Councilwoman, City of Beverly Hills.
I appreciate it, Wendy. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Anytime. I'm Wendy Nystrom, your host with Environmental Social Justice. Please act now and act loudly. Thank you.